If you watched a lot of movies and TV shows in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was a good chance you grew up with some irrational fears. Fears of things that you later learned aren't really worth worrying about. But that didn't stop you from worrying about them as a kid. So let's backpedal a bit and talk about irrational childhood fears.
And they search for flesh.
Okay, you're on vacation and it's hot. So you seek out a nice cool lake, jump in, then suddenly feel a nibble on the back of your leg. Ooh, then a painful bite. Blood starts to appear all around in the water. Piranha. It could happen to anyone. And once you're in the water, there's nothing you can do. They'll strip your bones in 30 seconds flat. I grew up near a lake, and even though I knew there was no piranha in the water, because my parents promised me, that didn't mean I didn't have a lingering fear. What if they were wrong? It wouldn't be the first time some kid was devoured by piranha. The interesting thing about the Hollywood piranha trope, it's been used in both horror movies and comedies. You can have an entire movie dedicated to the fear of a man eating fish, then suddenly be laughing as Richard Pryor runs on water to escape a lake full of piranha. 1 minute, it's a mass feeding frenzy on spring break. Next, it's William Shatner sticking his head in a piranha tank. Luckily, as I got older, I realized you can actually swim with piranha. Millions of people do it all the time. Just one of the fears I had as a kid that I was relieved to find out wasn't real. Quicksand was so prevalent in Hollywood for so long, growing up, I honestly expected to run into quicksand way more frequently than I do. Which is never. When you're a kid, quicksand could spring up anywhere. On your way home from school, a sandbox, the beach, near a lake. Yeah, I feared piranha and quicksand when I went to the lake. I was a nervous kid. Just step in the wrong place at any time and down you go, drowned by sand. And it seemed like every movie and TV show I watched growing up had quicksand. Help, I'm sinking! Those who weren't rescued disappeared, usually only leaving behind a small piece of evidence of their existence. If you ever see a hat lying on sand, you knew that was quicksand. Luckily, through Hollywood, I learned all the tricks to survive. No way I was gonna die in quicksand. Rule number 1, don't panic.
Okay, stay calm. Don't struggle. Stay calm.
I'm calm.
Rule number 2, stay still. Rule number 3, grab the nearest branch, vine, or stick. I come in contact with the exact same amount of quicksand as piranhas, which is 0. So, leeches seem to go back pretty far in Hollywood lore, to about the 40s and 50s at least. Attack of the Giant Leeches definitely helped, I'm sure, but the leeches I grew up fearing were mostly because of one movie and one movie only. You know which movie.
Ron, there is something on your neck.
It's a leech.
Leeches! Oh my God!
That's right, Stand By Me. Stand By Me caused a whole generation of kids to be deathly afraid of leeches. This was high on my list of fears. I had to avoid piranha, quicksand, and leeches. It didn't help seeing Gordy pull a leech out of his, well, you know.
Smiths, a pops, spoof. I'm afraid Tractor's taken a bad bump on the head. I think he has amnesia. Amnesia!
Lots of movies and shows use amnesia, but I'm talking about the childhood fear of being hit on the head and forgetting who you are type of amnesia. Not the total recall amnesia or the memento amnesia. And of course it would only last until you get hit on the head again. Then you're back to normal and everything is fine.
Hey, I'm me!
It's truly amazing just how prevalent amnesia was, and still is in movies, TV, and cartoons. In Full House, Michelle gets hit in the head when she falls off a horse and forgets everything. In Married with Children, Peg hits her head and starts to enjoy cooking and cleaning. In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Splinter gets amnesia. In Smurfs, Perfect Strangers. In Gilligan's Island, Mary Ann hits her head and starts to think she's Ginger. I Dream of Jeannie. Let's not even talk about all the soap opera amnesia. Amnesia was a main plot for two of my favorite movies growing up, Overboard and The Addams Family.
You seem to be suffering from a temporary amnesia.
What a fool I was to doubt you.
As kids, we just took getting amnesia due to a hard hit to the head at face value, until we grew up and realized, yeah, that basically never happens. Swimming after you eat. The old fear of swimming right after you eat. Something about a cramp or something. It's very dangerous. Don't go in the water after eating that bologna sandwich. Better wait 30 minutes before jumping in that pool, dude. You'll drown. Make sure you check for piranha, too.
And they search for flesh.
Swallowing gum and watermelon seeds. If you swallowed gum, you'd just die. If you swallowed watermelon seeds, you'd grow a watermelon plant in your stomach. Duh. Razor blades and Halloween candy. This was a huge one. Now, I remember it mostly being a razor blade in an apple, but who was giving apples out on Halloween? And even if they did, it would get tossed in the woods on your way to the next house anyway. But that fear spilled over to any unwrapped candy. If it was unwrapped, it definitely had a razor blade in it. You dump the pillowcase full of candy onto the kitchen table, and Mom would help sift through the good candy and the clearly has razor blades in it candy. You know, now that I think of it, was that just some kind of parent conspiracy to take candy from their kids?
Hey Mom, I got a question.
It's fun to look back on all the silly things we believed as kids, especially the ones we discovered through movies and TV shows. My kids have their own weird and absurd movie and TV show fears, and as much as I want to call them out, I often don't, just so that they can have their silly irrational fears of their own. You know, harmless, silly fun. Thank you so much for backpedaling with me, and be sure to let me know in the comments what childhood irrational fears you grew up with, and let me know which ones I missed. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tig, and I'll see you in the future.